Hello, how's it going? It's Sunday, May 24th, 2015. Just wanting to make this video here. Not trying to get it out of the way or anything like that. I'm trying to get it complete before I lose too much of my thoughts that I had. So I was gonna say that on some of the next broadcasts we're going to um, I'm gonna I'm going to look up and reveal, which I already have, the book of Enoch. I'm going to study that a little bit more. It seemed interesting. I took a day out yesterday to watch several videos on the book of Enoch, which is very interesting. They argue a couple of different points on why they took it out of the Bible, but we have. I don't know if it's gonna let me do this or not. Yeah, okay. Let me come back to where I have. This is what I'm talking about. So new lands will be discovered. So it's not new lands. What it is um, uh, uh, what it is. This is my theory that I'm going with now. Is that the planet, when they said Pangea, all this water was here when the Pangea happened. I'm thinking it said that the water was not, that there was more land mass, minus all this water, 2/3 of the planet, which is made up of water, is what I'm talking about. Remove that and then turn this into a globe, and that's what the planet originally looked like. And it was a smaller sphere, and it's expanded and grown in time. So, what I'm saying now about planet Earth is it'll grow back like it was once before, but since it's enlarged now, what my theory is the planet will bring up a lot of if not every single um, society that's ever been, not say it's some that we haven't been able to explore yet, I believe are going to emerge eventually. The planet's going to come back and it's going to reemerge as a more of a crust planet than an ocean planet. So the crust is going to catch up with it eventually, and it'll expand again, and we'll see all of the cities and everything that we see submerged underwater now will all reemerge. Everything, and the depths will come up and will rejoin the rest of the crustacean on the planet. That's my opinion, my theory of it. So the ocean abyss will reform and rise up to the region with the continents once again at surface level, making the world reform back into a much larger scale of its former self. Will only all people and good things on earth be saved. So there's I wanted to talk about disappearing people, but people like they were in the rapture, I got that from the Ancient Alien show. They did one where people let's see let's say that let's see people, how would you say that? I'd say probably disappeared people vanished from Earth. Graves found as it and like sure that addicted. People missing Saturday, listen dates, events. Rapture. Okay, I'll admit I can't find it. So I have no idea, but I want to talk about that. Does it have something to do with people's encounters with UFOs? Are they practicing something? Do they do routine type of stuff like the military would? So then other ancient people and sites, like they said the Mayans disappeared. They like warped back into their old world that they came from or something. Or they we say being raptured because they're taught a little bit differently than we are. So Christians they have a different moment. So that's why they sent Jesus back. So I'm not going to talk about the three prophets today. And I wanted to talk about Enoch and the three prophets. Enoch is one, and it reveals he goes through all these different dimensions. It describes he gets taken up on a round disc, first thing. Then he goes through all these different dimensions, different various levels of heaven. And the churches, mainly the Catholic Church, didn't want people to know this stuff. So they had the Book of Enoch removed. Anyway, so Enoch travels on a UFO through all these different dimensions. And what I believe, he's revealed another person, another human being that God is showing himself in another person just like him. That is going to be one of the three prophets that come back at the end of times that had been taken to heaven through all these different various dimensions to get there to wait until they come back, and they're going to appear at the end of times. And I believe God was revealing to Enoch himself, one of the other people. So they're ordained, chosen prophets that God wanted to come back and teach the world. And they're going to kill them at the end, like they did Jesus, except It's the Bible describes it more like how they treated the U.S. troops in Somalia when the Black Hawk went down there, and they desecrated the people there. In particular, reminds me of what they're going to do to the three prophets. So, and then it also tells me maybe what sets people off and really irritates people is it sounded to me like they're given by God keys to the universe on how every single thing works, how every human being ticks, how every star and planet and everything exists and what their purposes are for and everything. They're told everything. So they have the keys to the universe and they come back and for whatever reason mankind gets upset with them. We'll talk about that later because I want to study them and the three prophets in particular just a little bit more than what I remember. But they're going to come back, I believe. Part of what that is examining that is they have the keys to the universe that God gives them, and they come back and they're trying to tell people this because there's going to be a point in time when they're told to reveal this, and they'll be killed. Like Jesus was killed 3 days, then they are resurrected from the dead, and they come back, and their bodies just, however burnt or whatever is wrong, however they do anything they want, their bodies come back together, being ripped to shreds like that, and they're made whole again, and then they'll disappear back into the heavens, and people will still not get it, but they're prophets and they're sent for that divine purpose to wake people up, and um, so we'll talk about them later. So anyhow, it's examining. Oh well, does there? Okay, I was looking at the Earth. So there's somebody said before they got debunked because the sun's in the center of our universe. But see what it is um the structuring of the Earth is sound. It's a sound structure. Like you can think like some kind of comet or something can come and destroy it, or whatever, blow it off its course and whatnot. But the Earth has a in my belief, I believe this that it is a very stable structure, like most stable building, state of the art building. It just won't collapse, you know. Okay, so the planet is going to, there's going to be, with that rapture, that's part of, they're removing all the good people, like a lot of the Indians have disappeared, and other people that they have, a lot of them have seen their own rules and religions and stuff, like the Mayans and other people, apart from Christian or Muslim or any other type of religion. Um, but they have also a key to the earth and the universe in ways where they're keepers, in ways where they are kind of made up to protect the planet. So they're taken away, they're saved somehow, even in a cataclysmic event, um, where you see people like they did in the Philippines in 2003, where 300,000 people were killed by a tsunami. Um, there'll be people that will be on the ground there that will be saved, that have something to do with keeping the planet a sound structure, help protecting the planet. Evil will have the planet to itself, and we'll see people. spirits and everything will be able to witness that for a while, but it still will not destroy the earth completely. The earth's not written to that it's going to be completely destroyed and not inhabited again. So that takes me back to why I believe the planet expanded to it is now. The reason why the Bible says that God separated all the continents like this, it was once just a landmass. All together, every continent was a smaller globe. But God did this with the water and the flood. Um, After the flood, because He didn't want. It was like with the changing of people's language on the Tower of Babel. It says He wanted man to be separated. It was like kind of like the teacher would separate you if you're acting up in class, so that these nations couldn't be like kids acting up in class, because that's what happens throughout time. People they know God's there and they try to go above Him or outthink Him or something like that. But we're also talking about grounded thought. So we have a grounded thought mechanism to where um, some of these thoughts you can't even think about. I mean, you can't even fathom, like, oh, these old pyramids used to fly the whole city, you know. They had the ability to fly the whole entire pyramid, you know. If you came, I was just gonna say, if you were an alien or whatever, and you came from outer space, you could probably understand, know a little bit more about it, but you wouldn't deny it. So, anyways, the Pangea, it was this without the water and the globe. The land surrounded the oceans at the time. So, the Earth will eventually go back to being a bigger ball. But whenever it comes to that point, it's going to be perfect. That's why I'm saying now that I think everything in space in due time will come to a point where it'll all be perfect. So, like heaven, it'll all be perfect. And then there's still like a place where you dispose of the waste, what you would say. You know, get rid of the evil or the bad people in space. So experience was it religious connection that connects to the rapture. Involved in some sightings, visions. Oh yeah, they talk about visions in the Bible. So I want to know some UFO sightings, even though there's more than one person sitting there, they can still have the same vision if it's a spiritual vision that God sends. Anybody in the room is gonna see it. It's just how everybody's gonna say they saw the same thing, but what their opinion of what they saw is gonna be what is the difference. So it's like deja vu. It's like I seen this UFO, but it could have been a vision, like deja vu. Because we all have deja vu where we've got things happen and we're like, oh man, you remember that? So the religious connection, I surely believe that a lot of the disappearances of people on the planet have something to do with them being keepers of the earth. They take care of the planet, so God, the creator of it, wants them in a safe place, wants to make sure they can continue taking care of the planet. I believe that when Christ died, all it was saying was that we're no longer barbarian. So instead of taking people out like traditional people would take somebody out and just kill them or stone them for, littler stuff than like murder or whatnot. They just, Christ came, died for our sins like that. It has something to do with us no longer being barbarians. So we're not barbarians with the ego like that no longer. We can tell, we tell the people their sin and we try to talk them like somebody up on a ledge. I would describe it like that. If you see somebody doing wrong, it's just like somebody up on a ledge. You're trying to talk them down off the ledge. Hey man, think about this thing. You got a rational conscience ability in your mind. So explain earthly thoughts. In ancient period, he said that it's like we have earthly thoughts. If we were more of the cosmonaut or from space or the alien, we would not have earthly thoughts. Our thoughts would not be grounded here. We would have spacey thoughts, not spaced out thoughts. We would have thoughts that are out of this world that we can't imagine, unimaginable, and it would be complexing to us. It could be hard to communicate with some of these in the first place. If you're trying to communicate with someone, they're like, what in the world is this in their language? Like, but they mean, what in the hell? These humans start saying. And we'd say the same thing. Like, oh my God, what did we get ourselves into? So, almost impossible. Just like, are you sure you want to meet these aliens? Impossible to imagine them as flying crafts. That's a worldly concept that couldn't happen. That's an impossibility. They couldn't levitate a whole fortress, a whole city, or city, ancient city that, housed all those people. When they levitate themselves and somehow they're taken away. However, it was by the watchers or however they did it. They did it. It's my opinion. It has a lot more to do with space and gravity than people think. It's not a grounded concept. Pyramids, for the most part, in my opinion. If we were from outer space or in relocated Earth, we could understand my flying city's thought from my imagination, human thinking grounded to our planet. It's hard to have the open mind with the stars in space. Does the Earth have profound stability to it? So I'm saying it does. Like, it's almost like it's centered, like it's the center of the universe, but it's a it's a reflection in and then back out to space. The reflection of space, and space reflects back to what Earth is. So Earth has this profound stability I can't explain, and it's because my mind is human and it's grounded to the Earth. So as soon as I become a cosmonaut, astronaut, alien myself, which I'm just saying I'm probably alien if you enter into space and into the stars, because you'll be foreign to anything out there at that point, away from where we are here. So it's grounded thoughts. You can't comprehend that. Yeah, so I have basically I'm gonna go over Enoch a little bit more. I'm gonna do a video on him. I'm gonna talk more about the three prophets. I keep asking people and they believe that Moses is one of them because Moses never did not enter the promised land. God made him, let him see it on a mountaintop, but he didn't let him enter into the promised land. So when he did that and was separated from um, the tribes, um, the tribes of Israel, he went to a place, and it doesn't say that Moses died. It just said that God took him, and the word is that he was buried somewhere up in the mountains, and Moses isn't dead. Moses is resting in a place hidden. It could be in front of your face, but you can't see it, like the Garden of Eden. It could be like right, I believe it's by the Tigris River in Iraq, but you can't see it because there's now a mirage. It's like covered, um, like a forest field thing that you'd see in a movie, like on G.I. Joe or something, where they got the bullets deflecting coming in, but it's the vision, you can't see it, it's a mirage over it, and nobody can go there and see it, but um, the planet is going to be perfect up to a point where everything becomes perfect at their own points in time, and it's a reflection on what we do. So when space acts up, people act up. When people are doing good on the when the earth is doing good, space does good. At the same time, it's just my opinion. And then earth will come back, will refill itself, and all of the inside part of it will come back up to the surface. So all of the cities that are underwater right now that that we see on shows, documentaries, and um, mystery shows like that in the ancient world, um, I believe will all come back up to the crust, and the crust will be much larger and will keep expanding. So it hasn't just stopped expanding with water just yet. And it will come to a point where it will stop. But not like it stops rotating or working. It's just going to be perfect at that point. So also during that time there'll be no it'll go back to the way that um it would have been when Adam and Eve, before they ate the fruit, and people will be made like perfect, don't have anything wrong, but they'll have, definitely sounds like they'll have a lot more elaborateness to their intelligence, which is also another way that you can even now continually get in trouble to this point. So the book of Enoch, it was talking about describing how angels didn't just stop with the 1/3 that were cast out of heaven with Satan. It said that more were sent here and they became corrupt too. So it's kind of an interesting thing. Thought it'd be nice if we had other people talking a little bit more about it. Sounds pretty interesting. But that's another video for another time I wanted to talk about. Believe I'm done with this video here. So appreciate anybody who watches it. And thanks. Have a good day.